news, traffic, and weather update. CNN 650 Radio News.
Welcome back to Houston Real Estate Today. Houston's most informative hour, great real estate information, because I managed to bring on great guests, and we have two incredible guests today who've been just a treasure chest of information on the mortgage market, on real estate in general, and investing. And we're coming back to Tim Soika, one of my favorite realtors, one of my good friends in real estate. Tim and his lovely wife Lori with the C. Tim Sell team at Keller Williams West Houston, and this time has gone by so quick. And Tim, you are just so informative. All I have to do is just plug you in, and you got all the great information before I even ask the question.
Thank you very much.
So we're back talking a little about buying, and then we'll switch over to the seller side of the equation. I know you work with a lot of investors. Where are some of the good buys in Houston right now?
If you're an investor, it depends. If you're a buyer and holder, I personally would target Katy. One, it's where I work, so of course I believe in Katy and West Houston. The school districts are so strong there, so if you're going to buy something that you're going to turn around and rent, Katy's probably a wonderful place to be. If you're going to buy and flip, you have to look at specific neighborhoods or specific areas of town where you have room. And I don't like to put one of my flippers in a position where they have $10,000 or $20,000. I want to put them in a position where we have $100,000, $50,000. There's specific neighborhoods I like to see flippers working in. And I love Nottingham Forest and West Memorial. If you get lucky in there, you can pick up something at less than 80 and sell it for more than 150 square foot. I love Inside the Loop, certain sections of Inside the Loop, of course. Those areas just work better for investors. For the people who buy and hold, though, Katy, Cypress, look for anywhere where you see a strong school district, the kind of place that you would want your kids to go to school. I'm personally a buyer and holder. I prefer to buy things and gain wealth over time by having someone else pay it off. When you're buying and flipping, you're just creating cash flow. When you're buying and holding, you're creating wealth. You're creating your child's future. When I bought my first investment home, I actually told the realtor at the time, I'm buying this to pay for my daughter's education. And she said, how much do you think it will be worth? I said, I think this home will be worth $240,000 one day. She goes, look, this is an $80,000 home. And I said, but how much was it worth 20 years ago? She said, $30,000. Exactly. The buying and holding game is great if you buy and can hold. I've bought bad properties that I had to buy and flip out of. Those aren't fantastic for that. But if you have the patience, if you have the right home that cash flows, there's nothing better than buying and holding. We have one renter that hasn't moved out in 3 years. I told my wife I hope she dies in the home. I don't mean soon.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah. But 30 years from now, I hope literally that her kids have moved out and she grows old in that home, and that's the home she dies in. I'll still own that home when she does, I hope. And that's really what you want. You want an investment where you get the right people in that really pay off your mortgage.
Super. Tim, if I was buying a home for myself, not for investment, and wanted to be in there for a while, would you suggest I buy a home already on the market, or would you suggest I buy a brand new home?
Boy, that depends. I like new homes if you have time. If you're going to live in a community 3 to 5 years, and you're not staggeringly in love with trees, because a lot of new home communities, unfortunately, you don't get that. If you're willing to live in a community 3 to 5 years, I would rather buy a new home. The reason I'd rather buy a new home, there's great builders out there. Wiesner Homes is one of my favorite, of course, Majesta. There's great high-end builders that you can buy these elegant homes with the marble countertops, and they're gorgeous. But when you buy a new home, just be ready to buckle in for 3 to 5 years, because when a builder's still in the community, it's hard to get all of your equity back out of it. So if you're patient, I prefer a new home. If you're someone who's going to relocate in a year or two, I actually prefer a resale home, because those neighborhoods are already established. We know the prices. We know how they're going to grow over the years. Also, you get your trees right up front. The disadvantage is there's going to be some things you're going to have to repair. There's some things that may not be up to code. But the real advantage is you're not competing with the builder when it's time to sell. In a new community, I love builders. But if you're competing with them when you're trying to sell, they're going to have incentives. They have deeper pockets than you. They can do things to sell homes that you can't. So again, it depends on what you're looking for and what your time commitment is.
What advice would you give me when I'm trying to sell my home? There's so much product out there now, the foreclosures and there's a bunch of listings, a new home product. What would your advice be to me as a seller? How can I possibly compete with all these other homes for sale?
And that's probably the best question. Early on in our conversation, I talked about creating a brand for a home. I think the one thing you need to ask your realtor, and I hope you do interview a realtor, if you don't, I think the one question you have to pose to yourself is, what am I going to do to create a brand for my home? What am I going to do to sell it? You have to realize it takes a very good realtor who has connections with all other 25,000 realtors in Houston to sell your home. If you're going to try to do it by yourself, it's hard. So ask your realtor a few questions. Number one is, in a good market, any realtor can put a sign in your yard and sell the house. Although this is a pretty good market, it's not a great market right now. You need someone who's going to sit down with you and say, look, this is our marketing plan for your home. I'm going to put your home in this magazine, or I'm going to feature your home on this website. I'm going to put your home near the top of a search engine. You're going to want a realtor who understands technology, because people go to the internet to buy homes now. Also, you want them to have a plan to pull in out-of-state buyers, because out-of-state buyers account for 50% of all homes bought in Houston. If they can't answer that question, how are you going to draw out-of-state buyers to me? I'd politely ask them to pack up and leave. They really need to have that plan in place. They really need to have a marketing plan for you. The times of, I'm just going to put it in MLS and let MLS sell it, are gone. I've had people come to my listings and say, I was standing outside to open up the door because it was a higher end listing. I've had people come in my listings and